Or so as the music plays, we invite you to simply close your eyes, relax, rest in the presence, and hold space. Wrong song.
Ganapataye Namo Namaha Gam Ganapataye Namo Namaha Jai Ganesha Gananata Dayaniti Sakala Vigna Karadura Hamari Jai Ganesha Gananata Dayaniti Sakala Vigna Karadura Hamari Ganapataye Namo Namaha 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 Suklambaradharam Vishnu Sasivarnam Chaturvujam Prasannavadanam Dhyaye Sarvavignyopashantaye Sarvavignyopashankam Ganapataye Namo Namaha Ram Ganapataye Namo Namaha Ram Ganapataye Namo Namaha Ram Ganapataye Namo Namaha Ram Ganapataye Namo Jai Ganesha Gananata Dayaniti Sakala Vigna Karadura Hamari Jai Ganesha Gananata Dayaniti Sakala Vigna Karadura Hamari Ganapataye Namo Namaha Ganapataye Namo Namaha Ganapataye Namo Namaha
Namaste.
Namaste.
Welcome to our weekly online satsang.
Turn it off.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Please. Satsang is a Sanskrit word that means, Suzanne's just going to turn off a buzzing fan. She'll be right back. But satsang is a Sanskrit word that means literally community of truth. And it would apply wherever there's a spiritual community of two or more people who are on the path of awakening, who come together to share their journey, to share their presence, their insight, and their struggles, and to support one another. It's an extremely important part of the spiritual journey. So glad you're here. We live at a time when humanity must awaken and shift. Awaken from the illusion of separate existence, of separation from God, separation from one another, duality, and awaken to the truth of oneness, of our oneness with God, our oneness with each other, our oneness with all that exists, is reality. But our minds, most of our minds, have been deeply programmed to experience and perceive the world from a place of separation and division. So we've created a global civilization of competition, conflict, and war. It needs to be replaced with a global civilization of cooperation, harmony, and peace. And that will only happen when the heart of the human collective consciousness flowers. It begins one person at a time. So it's so important that as many of us awaken into oneness and our hearts flower with true compassion and unconditional love and oneness with the divine within as quickly as possible. To that end, there are many great teachers and teachings, so many enlightened, awakened beings sharing their presence and their teachings, and there are many transmissions of awakened consciousness that are being made widely available to anyone that wants them. They go by various names. We share one we call the Flowering Heart Blessing. It's a direct transmission of the divine presence and awakened, enlightened consciousness. It comes directly from the divine source. It doesn't flow through any particular spiritual tradition or particular teacher. It comes directly from the divine, and it's absolutely free. And when you receive it, it catalyzes awakening in the heart. So it's a very beautiful thing, and you're soaking in it right now. It's all around you and flowing within you, and if you like the energy and the space we share here, just invite the divine to pour the Flowering Heart Blessing through you, because to receive it once is to be initiated, to be able to share it with others in meditation or in prayer or through the laying on of hands with the informed consent of the recipient, because it's important that people understand what they're receiving, and it's going to produce some dramatic changes in their lives. But you can join us right here, right now, and help us to flow the Flowering Heart Blessing to everyone who's joining us tonight and everyone who views this video recording at any time in the future. So glad you're here. We like to open it up to questions and answers on the spiritual journey, and I see we already have several, but I'm going to give you a few more minutes to see if you've got any more. Just ask inside and listen to your heart. Is there something I should ask or share in the satsang that would catalyze the conversation? It moves the divine to inspire me and Suzanne to share light and clarity with you. It helps us all. So, while you're checking out your heart, I'm going to share 14 quotes to inspire a minimalist lifestyle. These quotes I share most weeks come from inspiringquotes.com. A group of authors write short, brief articles on really relevant topics, and then share collections of quotes from profound, famous people, spiritual teachers, and others that reflect on the topic. The author of this article and collection tonight is Tony Donnell. We've shared a number of his articles along the way and over the months. Tony is an English writer of nonfiction and fiction, living on the edge of the Amazon jungle. Love that. Thank you, Tony. So, here's the little article before the quotes. The concept of minimalism has been around in one form or another for a long time, albeit under various names. Frugality, thriftiness, a Spartan lifestyle, and to different extremes. As far back as 450 BCE, Socrates was extolling the simple life, saying, quote, "The secret of happiness, you see, is not found in seeking more, but in developing the capacity to enjoy less." Centuries later, after World War II, an entire artistic movement embraced minimalism, particularly in the visual arts, as a reaction against abstract expressionism and modernism. More recently, a new interest in minimalism has emerged, one that focuses directly on the way we live. Proponents such as Marie Kondo, Joshua Fields Milburn, and Joshua Becker have written best-selling books and created popular websites focused on helping people live a more pared-down lifestyle, with the ultimate goal of improving quality of life, reducing stress, and being happier overall. Decluttering the home is a large part of the new minimalist process. No surprise, as recent research suggests, the average home contains a whopping 300,000 items. But clutter is only one element. A minimalist lifestyle also has environmental and financial benefits, as well as time savings. It means less time buying, less time consuming, less time tidying the house, and less time looking for car keys or the TV remote. The average American spends 2.5 days a year looking for misplaced items, according to one study. I know I've been contributing. A minimalist lifestyle, therefore, can offer many advantages, but both practical and emotional. But if you're still not sure about throwing away half the stuff in your home, here are some quotes from minimalist advocates, both past and present. So here we go. Do not trouble yourself to get new things, whether clothes or friends. Turn the old, return to them. Things do not change. We change. Sell your clothes and keep your thoughts. Henry David Thoreau. It is preoccupation with possession, more than anything else, that prevents men from living freely and nobly. Bertrand Russell. Reduce the complexity of life by eliminating the needless wants of life, and the labors of life reduce themselves. Edwin Way Teal. We go on multiplying our conveniences only to multiply our cares. We increase our possessions only to the enlargement of our anxieties. Anna Brackett. Owning less is better than organizing more. Joshua Becker. If you want a golden rule that will fit everybody, this is it. Have nothing in your houses that you do not know to be useful or believe to be beautiful. William Morris. Minimalism is asking why before you buy. Francine Joy. The consumption society has made us feel that happiness lies in having things and has failed to teach us the happiness of not having things. Elise Boulding. Keep only those things that speak to your heart. Then take the plunge and discard all the rest. By doing this, you can reset your life and embark on a new lifestyle. Marie Kondo. Minimalism is a tool to rid yourself of life's excess in favor of focusing on what's important, so you can find happiness, fulfillment, and freedom. Joshua Fields Milburn and Ryan Nicodemus. Slowly cut things out. Oh, I missed the first line. Be a curator of your life. Slowly cut things out until you're left only with what you love, with what's necessary, with what makes you happy. Leo Babauta. Minimalism is really about reassessment of priorities. So you can remove unnecessary things from your life, get rid of things like possessions, activities, and relationships that do not improve or bring value to your life. Jane Andrews. Buy less, choose well, make it last. Vivian Westwood.
That was minimalist.
Indeed. More was never the answer. The answer, it turned out, was always less. Kate Flanders.
Just in time for spring cleaning.
Any day is a good day to let go of what no longer serves and doesn't speak to our hearts. So, here's we have questions that kind of rolled in. Tristan's first question. I notice a lot of people have misunderstandings about planetary retrogrades, alignments, and think solar eclipses are just positive. Can you give us examples of how solar eclipses affect us? Well, being as I am neither an astronomer nor an astrologer, I'm probably not qualified. But having just read a little bit about it, evidently solar eclipses can have profound emotional effects. It can affect us physically, affect our moods. They're powerful effects that even science agrees, I think, that solar eclipses affect us, not just emotionally but physically. There's less agreement on lunar eclipses, and yet we know people go crazy during full moons. So the alignment of the planets, the moon, the stars, all affects us. We're in this cosmic energy field, and how these things line up and what we're being immersed in at the moment affects us on every level of our being. So feel free to just take your browser and Google, how do solar eclipses affect us, people? And there's actually a lot said, although not everyone agrees. It's definitely dangerous to look at a solar eclipse without proper lenses that block over 99% of the light, and we need to be careful about it. But there's a lot of positive energy too. If you're just open to the unknown, our ancestors used to freak out because they didn't know what was going on. Do you want to add anything to that? Tristan's next question is, have you ever seen visions of the future and they come true in dreams or flashes? How can we discern between imagination and reality? Yeah, well, the answer to the first part of your question is yes. I've seen visions of the future and had them come to pass. sometimes it's been very profound. In my life, I had what I consider to be a near-death experience, but I was caught up out of my body, went down the dark tunnel to the light, and at the end of the tunnel, where I expected to melt, just dissolve in the light, was Christ, the cosmic Christ, with light that you couldn't look at, shining out of where his face should have been, penetrating the entire universe. I thought I was doomed. But it was a lovely, life-changing, one of the major, if not the major, life-changing experience that I've had when I met the risen Christ face to face. And he took me and held me and whispered in my ear and told me what was going to happen over the next 10 years of my life. Wow. Well, when I came back into my body, the smoke cleared. I thought I'd gone out of my mind. The Divine Presence showed me many proofs that that vision was real. The most important is that over the next 10 years, everything he told me happened. And it was miracles and healings and phenomenal stuff that I had absolutely no knowledge of or control over. And Christ began to use me in miraculous healing ministry. But he told me all about it, what was going to be happening, which was pretty amazing. So in the Hebrew scriptures, it says the way you'll know if a prophecy or a vision shared by a prophet is true or not is whether it comes to pass. And so there's the problem. I've known some profound seers and mystics who have been absolutely certain that they've seen the future. And based on their view of the future, they've called people around them that trusted them to make radical changes in their lives, with their finances, their lifestyle, everything. Some of the worst was a few years back when it was predicted by a number of seers, and some very powerfully trusted, that the world economy was going to collapse. And so people began selling things off and pulling everything out and beginning to withdraw from the world. And you know, it didn't happen at all. Now, I know profound mystics that are predicting the same thing again. And I'm going, oh my, but this time one of them, I really appreciate, said, you know, I could be wrong. But if there's any chance I'm right, I'm going to share with you what I saw and you decide for yourself. Okay. But it's very difficult to discern between imagination and the true visions of the heart, unless you're developed enough to know whether you're in your mind or in the spirit. Because authentic, I think, well, you could say anything's authentic, but divine visions of the future, which are rare, the term for that in New Testament scripture is a word of wisdom. A word of wisdom shows the plan for the future so that you can use knowledge, materials, resources that you have now to help bring that to pass. How do you know it's a real word of wisdom? Well, you would have to have discernment. There's a gift called discernment or discerning of spirits. So when any phenomenon, a vision or a dream or something, or someone shares a word with you, if the discerning of spirits is in operation, the person, you would be able to see the source, the true source of that vision or that prophecy, that prediction. But I'm very wary of predictions of the future, because for the most part, the future is not written in stone. It's flexible. And there are all these rivers branching out. There are all these possible futures. And the choices we make in the present moment determine whether we go down that stream or this other stream. And there's a lot of flexibility to create our fate. to co-create the future with the divine. And if a prognosticator, a fortune teller comes to you and says, in a year, this is what's going to happen, you're going to meet a tall, dark, handsome, blah, 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 and have this one. I mean, I have seen people's lives ruined by psychics giving their predictions of the future. So to discern between, is it just a psychic vision, which is questionable and not all that accurate, that's from the mind, or is it a true vision of the spirit in the heart? And even then it has to be discerned. St. John the Beloved, the close disciple that Jesus loved so much, who reclined on his breast at the Last Supper and to whom he presented Mary to take care of her when he was being crucified. John the Beloved writes, do not believe every spirit, test the spirits. So, yeah.
There's also the discernment of, is it coming from love or from fear?
Well, that helps.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that God has at certain times in history told people fearful things, but all for good and out of love. Like, if you keep going the way you're going, you're headed right off that cliff. And that's not going to be good. If you'll adjust your path and let me guide you, then all this good stuff's going to happen. So, I mean, sometimes we need a little dose of fear if we're being really stupid and doing dumb things and we're on the wrong path. But generally, I mean, there are only two forces, it's been said, in the universe: love and fear. Perfect love is God, in a word, and perfect love banishes fear. It dissolves it and drives it out. So that's one discernment. But it is very important to not be carried away with mental visions. They can be purified and very clear, but for most people it's a real mixed bag. So when it's predicting the future, I suggest praying a little bit more, praying for discernment. If you're not absolutely clear, put it on the back burner and let it simmer, and don't make a lot of drastic decisions based on planetary and stellar alignments and predictions of the future. Because I have seen them not come to pass my whole life. I grew up during the Cold War, and I lived in a city that had nuclear missiles pointed at us that were just minutes away, and there was the threat of them being lit off at any moment. That was fearful. And people were predicting from the time I was just a kid that these terrible things were going to be happening on planet Earth. Well, there's a lot of stuff going on that's not great, but we didn't collide with Nibiru, the hidden planet. So many things that mystics have said were going to happen, especially the fearful stuff, that I would just take with a grain of salt, which means don't take it.
The other thing, too, is since we're a collective being, the more of us that are responding to fearful predictions and stuff like that, like Michael said, life isn't written in stone, and the more of us that buy into negative and fearful and drama and trauma and tragedy and have a very strong emotion about that, it actually could help create that scenario. So I try and be very, very careful about what I'm feeling, and when I receive information, I filter it through my heart before I have any kind of thought about it or reaction or emotion, because I don't want to be I want to be part of the change, not part of the problem.
The power of agreement is a very, very powerful tool that can cut both ways. If we agree together as touching anything we ask upon the earth, it'll be done for us, up to a point. And so And so if we agree that bad things are going to happen, then we're feeding our faith into that, as Suzanne just
Right.
shared. So all of that. Yeah. Question 3. How does our word and what we say in repetition come to reality?
We just answered
Do you
that.
believe this to be a real thing? Also, the programming in music, does that create chaos to some point? Well, it depends on what kind of music. They've done experiments where they actually hooked people up to, testing apparatus to test muscle strength and brain waves and all that, and then subjected them to like heavy metal. And it was demonstrated that it weakened the physical body. And there were other forms of music that channel energies of love, and they strengthen us. So that's, I think that's a scientific, real thing. The word, what we say, okay, it's not repetition per se. It's the depth of faith and intention in the speaking. Christ put it this way: whosoever shall say to this mountain, be thou removed, and be thou cast into the sea, and does not doubt in his heart, but believes that the things he says will come to pass, he will have whatever he says. Now there are a couple of qualifications there. And a mountain could be anything, any obstacle or any situation. You can speak to it and command it to be changed if you believe without doubting in your heart. And to doubt, the Greek word there means to waver between two opinions. Yeah, I think this will work. Well, I don't know if that's going to work. No, those words, when I spoke them, I could feel that was powerful. Yeah, but I don't see. So when there's a back and forth, that's not how it works. It's when there's certainty in the heart. And that means that somehow you've come to discern the will of God. And your will and the divine will have come together. Then you can speak something into existence without doubting in your heart. And it says, and he believes that those things which he says will come to pass. So this is a person who watches what comes out of their mouth, because our words have creative and destructive power. So in order to be able to use words to create a reality, we need to cultivate purity of speech where we watch our words and we only say what we want to see manifest. And we speak with deep conviction that what we're proclaiming is in alignment with the divine will. That there's some homework involved to get to that point. And Christ said, you think you'll be heard for your much repetition? He said, that's like the pagans. Don't do that. So one word spoken in faith and trust and in communion with the divine presence is more powerful than 1,000 recitations of some magical word. So if you want to, this is a longer teaching than we can do. There's some of these questions you're bringing up, would take a whole workshop. And this one more, but it starts with meditating on that word that you want to see manifest, repeating it inwardly to yourself, repeating it out loud to yourself. Whatever you put in your mouth and repeat over and over tends to take up residence in your heart and become real in your heart. When it's real in your heart and it's come to maturity, you can speak it forth and it will manifest. And when we do that in agreement, even more powerful, where 2 or more of you agree on earth as touching anything you ask, it will be done for you by my Father which is in heaven, said Christ. And we've put that to the test and seen it true. Okay. Julio says, Namaste, much love and light to all. Yes, indeed. Love to you too, our friend. How come, Katerina, how come if God is all that is, the totally evil can take a place in that totality? What part does the evil play in the game? again, this is a mental question. I think it's a legitimate question. If God is all that is, God is more than all that is. God is all that is and more. God is in, through, and beyond all that exists. And because love is a dance, love requires you and me, I, thou, the self and the other. There's a certain beautiful dualism, the dance of yin and yang, in love. If there's just one and nothing else, who am I going to give my love to? Who am I going to dance with? I can love myself into infinity, but the divine has endowed consciousness to countless sentient beings in the universe and given them free will. Dangerous little gift. And I guess to make the game more fun, some people think he gave us all a case of amnesia so we don't remember that we're actually God. So we think we're just, silly humans. Okay, but there are more than just humans. There are many different spirits and beings in the universe that have been given freedom. Freedom means you can choose between this way or that way. Well, not all ways are equal. So it's a learning curve. To have free will, we can choose what some people want to call evil, which is choices that are against life, that are not beneficial, that are harmful, actually destructive. And that's how we learn not to do that. Now, God could just stop it and take that free will element and make us all do the perfect and the true and the light thing, but then we'd be puppets, wouldn't we? There wouldn't be any choice. There wouldn't be any true freedom. We would just be like marionettes, which, there are times I've thought that would be great. Please make me a marionette. but we're in a process of learning and evolving, and that involves the freedom to choose. And sometimes we choose destructive things, and the divine allows it to manifest within the totality of the goodness of the whole, just to a degree. And so when you say evil can take a place in that totality, no, well, not really. No, the only thing that is totality is God. It's the light. It's love. And love gives our kids bikes to ride and takes the training wheels off, knowing they're going to fall down and skin their knees. Oh, that's evil. I just fell down and skinned my knee. Well, okay. There are worse things. But yes, we have been given the freedom to choose evil, and the consequences are severe, and the planet is suffering deeply because so many of us have chosen selfishness and greed and lust, and it's consuming us and the planet. And hopefully, those of us who are optimists believe that we'll come to the point where that's just crazy and we drop it and open to the light. You want to add to that?
Nope.
Yeah. So I know in India they call it a game or a play. The Leelas, the play, the games of God. And that includes evil and destruction and all of that, as well as goodness and I don't see it that way. I don't think God sees it as a game. When a parent gives a child a bicycle and is trying to teach them how to ride it, and it comes to the point to take the training wheel off, I don't think there's any part of the parent that embraces the sad truth that they're going to fall down and bruise themselves and scrape their knee. No. So I don't think evil is a game or part of the game at all. But it has been part of what is being allowed. And it goes way back before humanity. There were angelic spirits that left their first estate and chose separation. Personally, I'm convinced that in the end, not one piece of the universe will be left unreconciled. All will be brought back into essential oneness with Source. So that's the good news. I suppose if everything was good and perfect, there'd not be anything to learn, nothing to reconcile. So these are okay questions. I really prefer questions that involve your spiritual experience and journey. These are philosophical questions. Our old teacher of ours, Bhagwan, used to call them fundamental questions. He said, there's no end to those questions. Why this? Why that? Explain this, explain that. And he said, it's a trick of the mind to keep us from letting go of all the mental noise and questions and just let our hearts listen to the infinite silence of the divine presence. Just saying.
But thank you for the questions.
Absolutely. Keep them coming. And we try to tackle them. But I'm just saying, when you look inside and questions are bombarding you, the how questions are usually more constructive than why. Why is it this way? Why is it that way? Why did this happen? Why did that happen? And I'm not saying you did that in your questions, but we all do it. And the better question is, how do we get from here to the desired outcome? How do we get to oneness? How do we get to enlightenment? How do we get to divine union? And those are good questions. But thank you. Your questions were great too. I appreciate all of them. And Ekaterina and Tristan have really, you've been holding up your end of this bargain, bringing questions every week, and we really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Well, and there's Milan. Namaste. Dear Milan, I'll be talking to you soon. We have an unscheduled appointment coming up. So let's all close our eyes and invoke the presence and just bask and soak in the divine presence and drink it in. The divine is truly everywhere, fully present. It's been described as the circle where the center is everywhere and the circumference is nowhere. But in a very special way, deep within you, at the center of your being, dwells the fullness of the Godhead. And this divine being that is present within you is all powerful. It's not just a drop of the divine. The whole Godhead lives inside of you. And it is pure love, pure light, pure peace. Its love is unconditional. It knows all of your faults before you ever knew them. The divine knows everything about you, past, present, and future, and loves you exactly as you are. It yearns to draw you into its embrace in oneness, to dissolve the suffering that's brought about by the delusion of duality and separation, programs of the mind that are not true. In reality, you are already one with the divine. And it yearns to draw you into the full experience and joy and bliss and freedom of that realization. So just receive the flowering heart blessing and let it awaken, release, and transform you. This light is shining like a supernova star shining out of the center of your being, illuminating your spirit, flooding your mind and your emotions with light, clearing away the debris of wrong thinking, of negative emotions and programming, melting it away and flooding your soul, your mind, your emotions with divinely inspired thoughts and ideas. It's shining out into your physical body to dissolve pain and dis-ease. Receive your healing. The divine is holding nothing back. Receive the healing presence. Allow the divine light to enlighten your spirit, to illuminate your soul, to heal your body, to flood your relationships with healing and light and love and life, to set them right. To shine out through your life like a lighthouse, rippling out into the world to infinity. All you need to do is allow and let go and receive. Keep drinking it in. Breathe it in. Soak it up. You can have all you want. Now when you're ready, you can open your eyes and begin to make direct eye contact with Suzanne and or me. Just keep gazing at least one of our eyes, all throughout the light meditation we're diving into now. In this meditation, Suzanne and I are flooded with oceans of grace, love, and light, and it flows and pours through us to you, especially through our eyes to your eyes. If you just keep looking, relax and allow. The light shines out through our eyes, into your heart of hearts, causing the flames of divine love and the light of awakening to burn brighter and brighter and brighter within you. close your eyes now. Meditate with us for a few more minutes as the grace settles with you. Well, keep meditating as long as it feels nice to you. Or you could lie down in Shavasana nearby, which is to lie on your back with your eyes closed, your arms loosely at your sides, with your palms open, turned upward, and just dissolve in the presence with gratitude and joy. We love you very much.
Much love, light, and blessings.
Until we meet again, know that the divine in us beholds the divine in you, and we bow to you. Namaste.
Namaste.